Alright fellas, gonna do this again. I had a video loaded, but for some reason the picture was like I was holding a phone like this, and I even hate that now. But so I got the engine all apart. I took the short down to the short block last night. Once I took the intake off and saw all this junk, I wanted to get it apart so I could see how the cam looked. And the cam is not so good. The last two lobes got a little bit of a rough spot on them. Pretty sure I won't use it, but I guess there's always that outside chance I might anyway. But I've got another cam, but it's not a speed density, and the speed density ones are supposed to be, you know, the best, but there's only really mild differences between them. This is the head gasket. This was between 5 and 6. I didn't appear to hurt the block. The rod bearings were decent. The main bearings, not so much. I mean, they're not horrible, but I took the back one off, which is this one, first to make sure, because I figured if there's any oiling issues, it's going to show up on the back one more prevalent than the others, and it's kind of been the case. This was the number 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can see 2's got a bunch of garbage in it too. The block itself, the bores look good. Right here is where the head gasket was blown out. It had the cork gasket underneath the intake, and this back here, the cork was laying down here, so that's probably where all the water got in. And you can see where the block needs to be cleaned. Let me flip this up here. That looks pretty yummy, huh? So that's the oil. That's the coolant. And this is all the stuff the scrapper guy's coming to get. He'll come and get it Tuesday night. He's got people in town now. But apparently this was in up north. I don't know if some of you might have ever seen this. This is a block heater. This goes in a place, one of the freeze plugs, and then it has a cord to go out to the front of the car so you can plug it in at night to keep the coolant warm, so it'll start up a little easier the next morning. Pretty neat. We had hose heaters up in Wisconsin. It just plugged into the lower coolant line. So I said, block's good. Crank is okay. It needs to be polished. The main bearings are bad. The cam, I was a little disappointed in that. I mean, I bought the engine for two purposes. One was to have a block, and the second was to have a speed density cam. And then you know, before I took it apart, I was thinking maybe we could put this in the Capri. I was kind of thinking up something different to do with the engine, that the GT40 or Explorer engine that we have for the Capri. So I might still do that. I was, like I said, I was thinking of using the flat tops, an HO cam, and a TFSR intake for the Capri to run that at first, you know, so we could have the aluminum heads and have everything set up before running it with a 331, so Vince could get some laps under his belt. And so we might still do that. Might just use the other cam I have and run it that way for a while until we get the 331 done. And so it's very possible that we'll do it that way. I'll just put some bearings in this, some rings, and go with it that way. One thing I found peculiar with this is the cam had a where'd it go? It had a fuel pump eccentric on the cam. Even though this was a SEFI engine, it still had the pump eccentric and the timing cover, you can, that little spot in there, you can knock that out or cut it out so you can run a mechanical fuel pump. This stuff's getting to be washed in a little bit, and then this will eventually get washed also, just not today. So that's it. I was wrapping it up and redoing the video because it was apparently I wasn't holding the phone the right way, or my phone's doing something. But that's all. It is apart, and we're gonna go from here. We'll figure out what to do and get after it. So appreciate y'all fellas. Take care.